I'm feeling incredibly lucky to be able to interview the amazing Kelly Canby today. Kelly is an amazing author and illustrator. She has published 4 books which she wrote and illustrated herself. She has also collaborated with other authors and has also had numerous works published in anthologies. Her newest book, Little Light, has just been released. I believe she is an inspirational author because of her school talks to inspire young children and the work she does with other authors and writers through SCBWI. I also love her beautiful books with special messages to inspire young kids. Kelly, thanks for letting me grill you.
Oh, grill, that's scary, okay. You say anything about grill.
Are you ready to get started?
Let's go, yes.
I absolutely love your newest book, Little Light.
Thank you.
Very pretty. It is so bright and I adore the unique contrast of colours and greys. Can you tell us a bit about the message behind?
Okay, well, basically the message behind, in its simplest form, is that we should be open and accepting of everybody around us. So that's the simple message. The other message is, let's not let Donald Trump build a wall.
Thank you. Yes.
That's the message, that's sort of the underlying message without saying it, but that's sort of where it started from. And then it became about, well, what's behind the walls? There's nice things, we can learn things from people behind the walls rather than shutting them out and thinking because they're different, they can't teach us anything.
Exactly. I love that. Yeah, I definitely noticed that there was a wall.
Yes,
Definitely
yes.
a wall.
Look, I'm not going to get political, but I'm not Trump's biggest fan. And the whole wall thing just got to me. I was like, we don't need that. We're not here, but I always say we as if I'm in America, but what they do affects the whole world, right? I think.
Yeah, they're one of the biggest.
Yeah, and it trickles down to other countries, and people tend to follow the US's lead in a lot of things. So I reckon, you know what, it stops here.
Where did you get the inspiration for Little Light? I know you sort of covered that in that last.
Well, the inspiration for it came before I was thinking about sort of the message, and that was, I was thinking of walls, and if you take something out of a wall, you make a window, right? So that's where the idea came from. I go, so what happens if we make windows, and then why would we need windows? And then it came to that. Because when I was at university, one of our lecturers gave us a list of things we had to write down, 50 things you could do with a brick. And one of the answers we wrote down was that if you take it out of a wall, you make a window. So that stuck with me for years and years and years and years. And I thought, one day I'm going to write something about that. So I did. So that came first, and then the message followed. So it came with the spark of the idea, and then just so happened that there was a wall being built, and it all fell into place.
That's really cool. I could never take a brick and turn it into.
Yeah, there was another thing that my lecturer said to me, and it stuck with me forever, and he said, when you're thinking about things, is the pen on the table or is the table under the pen? Just a way of flipping your mind around, and so that's how I like to think. I mean, that's how the whole story came about, because it was like, you've got a hole, but what if you could pick it up? So I love taking ideas and going, well, what if you could do something that people wouldn't expect with it, or,
You could put it in your pocket.
yeah, that's what he does. So yeah, that's sort of where my stories start from. They start from this playing with perspective, or playing with flipping things around.
That's really cool. Sorry, ingenious way of thinking. How long did it take you to illustrate it, and how did you make it look like this? It's
very bright.
Yeah.
So illustrate took me I get about 6 months to illustrate a book. And I might work on it solidly for a month and then stop for a few weeks and go back to it, so around 6 months. And it was, I went to Fremantle Press, and can I just grab it for a second? And I said to Kate, the publisher, please, 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 can I do a spot colour in a bright neon? Because, first of all, I just really love the colour. Normally my nails are that colour, I'm going later to get my nails done. But I love the colour, but also I thought in a book where everything's so grey and the town is grey, you needed that real pop of colour. See the girl's hair?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you wouldn't see the contrast as well. And also the whole book is done in spot colours, which makes it a lot more expensive to print, but I don't pay for that, so that's fine. Yeah, so it was also a challenge. So it was a challenge to do something where, when I set it up for artwork for the printer, I couldn't do it the way I normally would do it because it prints differently. So I had to learn something. So yeah, out of the back of that, I learned how to do something new. So that was good.
That's pretty cool. I like that. I actually learnt a new word in this book.
Okay, can I guess what it is?
Yeah.
Apoplectic.
Yes. Am I pronouncing it right?
Do you say it like that? How do you say it?
I say it like apoplectic.
Yeah.
Good,
Okay.
just making sure. I actually had to Google it, and that was actually kind of funny because I never expected that word in here. But yeah, that's one of the things I love about books.
But you know something, to be honest with you, that was a team decision between me and my publisher, Kate, who suggested the word, and I had to go and look it up. But now that it's in there, I love it.
Is it your goal from your books to teach children new and better words?
I don't go into any books with a goal other than to make a beautiful book and to tell whatever story I need to tell at the time. So I don't go into it with, today I'm going to teach children how to love each other. So I don't have that message. But if that's what comes out when I finish writing the book, then that's a bonus. So I have a story I need to tell, and I have an idea I need to explore, and if it teaches something, then that's an added bonus, yeah. But I think if you set out to write a book with the intention of teaching a child something, you're going the wrong way about it, I think.
Yeah.
I think they have to get their own story and learn something themselves, and I think every child will learn something different from all my books. Possibly.
Well, I definitely think
That's good to hear.
out of all the books you've illustrated,
Yeah.
which has been the most challenging to illustrate?
Challenging to illustrate. I don't find illustrating challenging. I've done a lot of books that I illustrated for US publishers, so like 20 something books. And they're challenging in that you have to be very politically correct in their books, and you have to have every shade of skin colour, and you have to have, which is not challenging, but it then becomes, it looks a bit unnatural, I think. So it's not so much of a challenge, but it's something I haven't had to face with books I've illustrated in Australia, or certainly my own books. And with my own books, my character's usually grey, so that's how I get around having to represent everybody. I just make the person grey, and then it is who it is. But yeah, it's not really a challenge, but it's a rule that I don't really like to stick by all the time.
I noticed that you do school visits and workshops. Has there been any super awkward or embarrassing moments?
Do you think I would tell you if there were?
That you
It's more technical things like, I've forgotten to take my clicker, or I'm very well prepared usually, and I'm usually not late. I don't have embarrassing moments, I don't think. Kids always ask me how old I am, which I don't like saying, so I always try and dodge that question. So I like when that comes up. And I'm sure there's been some funny comments, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. I've never gone anywhere. I know friends of mine, I don't know who it was, can't remember, went to a school in their slippers by accident. You've done that. I know other people who have worn their shirts back to front, something like that, but no, I'm usually pretty prepared. Touch all the wood now, because book week's coming up, and I've got to wear my slippers, aren't I?
Oh, you've done some books totally on your own, and others have been in collaboration with other authors. Do you prefer collaborating or doing the books on your own?
I prefer doing my own books on my own because I'm in control of, not that I'm a control freak, but I'm in control of how the pictures and the words work together, and I can cut out chunks of words, and I can play with making this book the final thing, which I can do if I'm illustrating for somebody else, but sometimes authors are pretty precious about their words, and if you suggest maybe chucking out this sentence there a bit, But that said, my collaborations with Jacqueline Moriarty, have you seen those ones? The big Bronte Meadowstone books?
I think I've seen them on your website.
Yeah. Are so fun. I love those because my illustrations don't affect the story. They're there to just add icing to the story. So there's no pressure, and I just sit and I usually have watched something on Netflix and I just draw, and it's like therapy. And I go into this world that she's created and I draw her characters, and they just make the books look pretty. So I really like doing those ones. We've done 3. I'm hoping there's another one. I'm hoping there's 10 more. She's got 10 books in her. Show her this. You've got 10 books, Jacqueline.
Yeah, I can be a bit like, I like that sentence. It's valuable to the story, even though it's not. I love keeping my words.
I'm the same when I'm writing a sentence, and it means so much to you. If you spend a week on that sentence, how dare somebody think they can remove it?
Oh no. Now on to the speed questions. It's like a race.
Alright, that's
Hopefully we don't. What are you writing at the moment?
I'm always working on a few things, but I am at the moment. I'm exploring. So I start with a concept or an idea that I can flip. So I'm kind of working with the idea of time and sort of flipping time around and all the jokes and puns and ways of exploring time as a picture book. So I've written it, but I don't know how it ends, which is always the hardest, right? Like it's great, and then how do I finish this?
That's one of the hardest things that I felt while I'm editing my.
Because you could easily go, and then you woke up and it was all a dream, but nobody wants to do that anymore.
No, that just makes, I'm not really a fan of Facebook because that just goes. Why?
Yeah, that's a cop out, isn't it? So I don't want to cop out anything. I want a clever ending, and that takes a while.
What is your favourite ice cream flavour?
Favourite ice cream flavour? Oh, I stopped eating sugar a long time ago. But rum and raisin.
Oh.
Yeah, rum and raisin. Anything rum and raisin is my favourite.
Which book character do you or have you had a crush on, or if you haven't, what movie or video game or TV show?
Characters I've had a crush on. I don't think I've had a crush on any characters. I've always been a big fan of Max from Where the Wild Things Are. I dressed up as him for the book week dinner a few years ago, just because I think he's a lovely little character. Movies, I've been crushing everyone in movies and money. Ryan Gosling, Brad Pitt. What do you mean they're characters? And all the characters they play. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
What was your worst subject in school?
Oh, math. I didn't have to think about that. I am not a math person.
Same.
When I was at school, in high school, I did art, applied arts, theatre arts. If it had art in it, I was all over it. And they said to me you didn't have to do math because I was so bad at it. But I can work out, I can work out a sale percentage like that. If something's on sale, it's like 30% off, I can work it out fast. But I can't do actual math. You're the same?
Yeah. When it's something that I know, like square roots, I can do square roots off the top of my head and cube roots. But
Yeah.
I cannot do multiplications.
No, we don't need to. All we need to work out is our royalties. And someone does that for you anyway, so. And tax, someone can do that as well.
Exactly.
We don't need to make numbers. We don't need to bother ourselves. Our brains are so active and busy, we don't need to bother ourselves with that. So
Yeah, I prefer the creative stuff.
When he talks about budget, I said to him, I don't need to bother myself with that.
I mean, that's what I feel like. Who is your favourite or most inspirational author?
Favourite, most inspirational author? I tend to be more inspired by illustrators who then write books. So David Roberts is he's English, one of my favourite illustrators ever. There's so many illustrators that I love. Mark Martin even, who's Australian. So it's people's work visually that I get inspired by mostly than people's writing, because I'm a visual person before I'm a writer.
Yeah, I also think that illustrators are amazing.
I also think that
You sure? Illustrations are pretty cool.
Yeah, that draws me in before the book. I bought picture books purely because the illustrations are lovely and I've never read them. But I sit there and I look at them and I pat them, but I haven't read them. Not all of them, some of them.
Do you prefer reading ebooks or hard books?
I've never read an ebook. Never read an ebook. I don't have a Kindle. I don't read on my iPad or anything. I definitely prefer hardcover books. They smell like crack the spine.
Yes.
Yes, and you know what? I don't care if this is controversial, but I dog ear my books. I highlight them. I write notes in the margins. I have one book at home that is so written in, but I love that because then it's like a journal that I've made for a book. You know, I put my own thoughts into it.
That's what I like to do with the author copy of my book. I like to write in on once I send all these copies, I'm going to add these changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I don't think books are meant to be. If you own it, if you bought it, it's your book. You can write it if you want. If you've written it, then you can do whatever you want with it.
Exactly. It's your book. What is the weirdest place or thing you've gotten inspiration from for your writing?
Weirdest place or thing. Okay, I have this book at home. It's not that weird, but it sort of started the whole story. So I have this book at home. It's called How to Be an Explorer of the World. Have you heard of that one? I forget who wrote it, but it's called How to Be an Explorer of the World. And every page is like a prompt to see the world differently. Because that's what I really love about our world, is that you can see it from every different way. And one of them was a street scene with a pothole, and it said, imagine what's down there, and that's all it said. And so from that, I actually wrote 2 books. There was this one, and the first one I wrote called All the Lost Things were about, the Lost Things was about what's down the hole, and the whole story was about, well, now we know what's down there, what if we pick it up? So I suppose that's an unusual place to get inspiration, but yeah, 2 books were published from that one page in this book that inspires ideas.
That's pretty awesome. Sounds like very cool books. Do you remember the first book you ever read? Or if not, your favourite childhood book that you just love to read?
I remember the first book I ever fell in love with, and it was a little golden book, and it's an odd name, but it's called Little Boy with a Big Horn. And it's about this little boy, and he has this big horn that he blows, and it's, I had the record. You're way too young to remember books with records. Maybe Mum remembers. No, you're younger than me too. So you get the golden book, and it had a record. So I sit in my room with my record player, and you could read along. But the sound was so moody, and like when he was with the cliffs, you could hear the seagulls echoing, and you were there. And so I remember that book, and also the illustrator, who I can't remember now, but he's a very popular mid-century modern illustrator. Illustrations are beautiful, and so that's the first book that I just fell in love with. And I'd love to find a copy, but I've been on eBay looking for the original copies with the records, and they're like thousands of dollars now. Yeah, so look, my birthday is September. If you make a lot of money from your own books, money, you can always buy me that.
Maybe. I'm super rich in the far future.
That's right. When you're super rich, remember that boy with the big horn.
What do you see as your biggest achievement so far in life?
Oh, my biggest achievement so far in life is my son.
Aww.
Oh, does every parent say that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
But it's true, it's your child. You can't wouldn't trade a child.
He's turned 11 in January, and I just think, gosh, you've turned into a good kid. I'm so proud of him. So that's probably my biggest achievement. But if you're talking professionally, career-wise, like I think just being published, because it's not easy. So I think just having a book published is an achievement in itself, and that's probably the thing I'm most proud of.
Do you have any advice to share with young writers or illustrators?
I'm going to say what everyone else says is just keep doing it. So to illustrators, I say draw every single day. And I did a project where I did illustration every day for a year when I first started out. And I never forgot a day, even when we were on holiday, I would hide the illustrations in the hotel room. And when I look back at where I was when I started and where I was when I finished, I had got so much better just by every day doing it. So definitely every day, and with writing, just read and write. You just got to keep doing it. It's like, I always say, we are like elite athletes and we have to train. So they go and they lift weights all day, we're going to lift a pencil all day. And we're going to lift a pen and we're going to type every day. That's my advice.
Beautiful advice. Thank you so much for letting me interview you. This has been awesome. And make sure to check out Kelly Canby on her social media so we can share her amazing work and her books.
Which we're going to show you now. Thank you, Marty. It's been fun. It's been awesome.